Hi, my name is Candace. I'm the founder of Sufficient Grace Social Services, where our mission is to create awareness for the prevention of child molestation, child sexual abuse, child abuse, and neglect, to help children to gain confidence and to find their voice, and also to help find healing from past sexual abuse and other childhood traumas through faith in Jesus Christ. Today, I wanted to talk about something new. I know for the past couple of months, I've been going over my book of Becoming Me. But today, I wanted to start on something new, actually. And um, it's actually talking about how to keep your children safe from child predators. And so, I have some things I wrote down, and I just wanted to say that the information that I have comes from different articles that I found online and also personal experience. So, any article that I use for this series, I don't know if it's going to be one or two videos or more. It might be three or four, depending on how much information that I talk about, because I want it to be kind of short and to the point. But depending on how many videos, I will put in each description box the articles that I did use for with the information that I used. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Let's see now. And I broke this into 4 different sections because it is a lot of information. And I kind of numbered them so that I would know what I want to talk about first, second, third, and fourth. So bear with me for a second. Okay, so I guess the first thing is what is a child predator? So this is kind of the definition I came up with for what a child predator is. A child predator is an adult that takes advantage of their position in a child's life to coerce or manipulate a child into participating in sexual activities. So, a child predator preys on children. They try to manipulate situations with adults that are caretakers of children, and they try to manipulate children themselves into trusting them and believing that they are safe and they really care about the child. And so that's what I want to talk about today is things to look out for when if you suspect that somebody is a child predator. So the first thing is to become knowledgeable about the grooming process. So what is grooming? And I have actually taken this from articles that I've written. Okay, so grooming is a process of targeting a child and engaging them for the purpose of sexual activities. It involves the imbalance of power and elements of coercion and manipulation. It also involves motivation and intent to sexually exploit a child. So, a child predator uses grooming as a way to kind of get the caretakers and children's guards down. And I actually circled this. Groomers slash child predators want to build trust with children, and building trust tears down a child's defenses and erodes their boundaries. So, yeah, basically, it makes the child trust and believe that the person is a safe person to be around, that the person cares for them. And little by little, a groomer who is a child predator will erode that child's boundaries by testing them, doing different things like some examples that were in the articles was like they actually asked a child molester, and he said that he would do things. He worked in a church, and he would do things like, I think he was a child Sunday school teacher. He would let a curse word slip out, and he'd say, "Oh, don't tell your parents, because if you tell your parents, I won't be able to hang out with you all anymore." And he would see who would keep that secret. And so that's what child predators do. They want to see who they can manipulate. And the children that will say, "No, I'm telling right away," or "No, don't do that anymore," okay, then those are not the children that they're gonna try to keep manipulating. But the ones that say, "Oh yeah, I'll keep your secret," that's what they want. They want a child that's not gonna speak up and not gonna tell a secret, and who really trusts and believes that they're not doing anything wrong. And so, in my case, with the person that molested me for many years, he started off with hugs and kisses, like hugs, and then they just became more than that. And it over a while, kisses on the cheek became kisses on the lips, and it just it escalated more and more and more. A touch on the shoulder became a touch on the chest, became a touch on the back, became a touch on the leg, you know, and it just escalated from there. So, if I had become uncomfortable and said, "No, I don't like this," and spoke up for myself at first, then he would have probably backed off, because that's what child predators don't want. They don't want a child that's going to speak up for themselves. And so, who is targeted by predators? Children who are the most vulnerable. And let me just say that is most times what child predators look for, children that are the most vulnerable, but they also could it could be anybody. They test all children most of the time. They end up picking the ones that are the most vulnerable, but they will try anybody. Because in some situations, children are looking for friendship. They're looking for companionship. They're looking for, if they don't have a male figure in their life, they may be looking for a male figure, or a female figure, somebody to look up to be a mentor to them. And so child predators really look for that. And it may not be that the child is in a vulnerable situation, like we would think of, maybe like children of divorce or children of single parent homes. It could be a family that has a mother and a father. They are very loving, caring, responsible parents, and the child is still a victim to a child predator. And that's why we have to be vigilant as parents, as caregivers, as adults to these people, because we can't depend on our children to always know that someone is trying to manipulate them. But we as adults, we should be able to see the signs a lot better. So, some examples of vulnerable populations of children are unpopular children, children who feel unloved, those that seek attention and friendship, children with low self-esteem or lack of confidence, children that are isolated from peers, children that spend a lot of time alone, children that are without adult supervision, and children that experience conflict in their family. And I would have to say that me as a child, I checked off a lot of those boxes. If you ever watch any of my previous videos, especially about my book of Becoming Me, I talk about how my parents were in a very volatile relationship, and they argued and fought a lot. So it was a lot of conflict in my family, and I spent a lot of time to myself. I didn't have many friends. I still don't, but I'm okay with it now. But I spent a lot of time alone. I was bullied a lot. And, I do feel like that was one of the reasons why I did become abused. And so, like I was saying before, a child molester, groomer, predator tries to erode a child's boundaries, and an adult's too, because they try to manipulate adults into believing that they are safe for their children to be around. So a child predator that is grooming a child is typically presents themselves in a positive light to the child and to the parents. So they exhibit interest in the child, they are complimentary, they learn the child's habits, their likes and dislikes, they pretend to have common interests, they give gifts and tokens of friendship, they play games, they give rides, they provide access to valuable items and privileges. They make a child feel special. They offer a sympathetic ear or understanding. They attempt to make a parent feel comfortable around them. Or they instill fear in the child and threaten the child to stay silent, which is the completely flip side of it. Um, which happens most times in situations where children are being molested by a close family member or a close family friend. They may instill fear in the child, um, as opposed to trying to be friendly with the child to gain their trust. They will instill fear in the child so that the child feels afraid to speak up for themselves. Like, say, for instance, a parent, a father who is molesting his daughter, he may tell his daughter, well, if you let anybody know about our special relationship, then I will have to go away and then you won't have a daddy anymore. And that will instill fear in that child that, oh, I'm going to take my daddy away if I say anything. And so a lot of times, sometimes um, that would instill fear in the child. But a lot of the times, a molester would try to, in the same way, a family friend or someone who is close to a child, they may say, if you let anybody know, I won't be in your life. I won't give you gifts. They would try to manipulate a child. And one thing that I wanted to talk about was the fact that these child predators really try to gain the trust of an adult or a parental figure. They really try their best to volunteer to help the child. Oh, I can pick them up after school. I know that you're still at work. Don't worry about it. Oh, you don't have to pay. They're always there. They're always there to lend a helping hand. And it's always a situation where they would be alone with the child and in some type of scenario. And so that's something to look out for when there is an adult that is always there to be the one to rescue a child out of a situation. and volunteering to do so. I think that is, oh, wait, let me see. Hold on. I think that's it for today. I wanted to make this short because it's a lot of information, but if you hear that, that's my heater. But I just wanted to touch on the fact that grooming is real, and that is something that goes on, and groomers try to do it under the radar. They try to make it so seamless and so natural that it's hard to point out sometimes. And so we as adults, as parents, as people who take care of children, we have to be aware of the signs. We have to be aware of people, because sometimes they don't have bad backgrounds because they've never been caught. And so we have to really focus in on people, and we have to put up safeguards to make sure that children cannot be molested. Even if there is a potential molester around that we just don't know about, we put these safeguards in place so that it won't affect our children. And I will talk about that next time. But one thing to think about is to, in situations where, and I know it can be hard sometimes, especially when you're a single parent or someone that really does need help, to never let someone just be alone with your child, like someone, a family friend or anything. Always make sure that other people around children, especially in situations where you're in a church building or if you're in like a school. Always have other eyes on your child or on the children that are in your care. And that's something that you can start to think about for the next video, on how to keep your child safe from child predators. And I always like to end my videos with, if you are a child or if you know of a child that is currently or has been sexually abused or any type of abuse, I urge you to call 911 or your local law enforcement agency, or 1-800-4-CHILD, which is the National Child Abuse Hotline. And if you are an adult who has been through child abuse as a child and you are still holding on to the hurt and the pain, or if you've been abused recently, I urge you to find someone to talk to about it. Pray first, always pray first, and ask God to lead you in the direction that He wants you to go. And with that, I thank you for taking some time to join in this conversation with me. And as always, be blessed.